Chilling Tales was released in 1995 for levels 3 to 9, written by Lisa Smedden, with interior art by Mark Nelson and a cover by Scott Burdick. It contains 7 mini-adventures and an outline of 1, each using a monster from one of the Van Richten guides. Each adventure also guest stars Van Richten and has a goofy terror tip gimmick. Through Darkened Eyes for levels 3 to 6 takes place in Tempest. And the villain is a Darkling from the Vistani guide, soon to be published. A Vistani tribe seek the heroes to track down a Darkling from their tribe. The terror tip is to take fake spiders and tape them underneath the player's seats, and the player who guesses what is under their seat is attacked by these spiders. Undying Justice is for levels 3 to 5, takes place in Borca, and the villain is a ghost. The adventure has heroes investigating a haunted house and laying the spirit to rest. The terror tip is to have the DM record a ghostly message on a tape recorder and surprise the players and play the tape during the adventure. Gazing into the Abyss is for levels 4 to 6 and takes place in Darkon, and the villain is a Lynch. The heroes help Van Richten track down and destroy a Lynch. The Lynch is playing mind games with the heroes, so the terror tip is to take each player into another room and tell them to be suspicious of the other players. Family Feud is a 2-page outline about a werebeast adventure. It's obvious the true adventure got cut out for space, but the goal was to include an adventure for a monster of every single guide type, so this was included. The original adventure Seawolf was printed later on in Dungeon Magazine, issue 55. The Surgeon's Blade for levels 6 to 8 takes place in Lamortia and is a Golem adventure. The true villain of this adventure is Emil Bollenbach, a former student of Van Richten's who went crazy after a bad monster hunt. He now creates golems to kill monsters, but does not care what innocent people get in the way, or what he has to do to innocent people to create his golems. Emil shows up in future RAVENLOFT products and is a great reoccurring villain. The terror tip for this adventure is to turn the lights off to simulate a power outage and finish the adventure using candles. The Scarlet Kiss for levels 7 to 9 takes place in Mortarshire, and the villain is a vampire. The heroes must stop a vampire from turning Van Richten into one. And the terror tip involves drawing vampire bites on the player's neck with a red marker. Ancient Dead for levels 7 to 9 take place in Har Akir, and the villain is of course a mummy. The heroes must enter the tomb of Hotep and stop the mummy. This adventure doesn't have a terror tip for some reason. The Taskmaster's Leash for levels 7 to 9, and it takes place in the town of Shadowfax, I hope I pronounced that right, in Dementalu. The villain is a fiend. The fiends are taking over the town, and the players have to figure out who the demons are and stop them. The terror tip for this adventure is for the DM to wear a spooky mask and taunt the players. So I've always been a little conflicted about this one. The terror tips are just stupid, and I would never attempt them. And I am not exactly sure what they were thinking of when they came up with this. Now I am sure if a DM did try to do these, they would be memorable, but with a 50% chance of being remembered for being totally lame. Either way, they're going to outshine the adventure itself, and that's not the idea. That should never happen. But I will admit there could be a fun, goofy time with them, especially for younger players. I also think they could have sprung for 5 or so more pages and included the true werewolf adventure, because Family Feud does feel like a ripoff. I do like the idea of having a short adventure featuring a monster from each guide, and each adventure guest starring Rudolf Van Richten as an NPC. Anytime a DM wants to have the players interact with Van Richten, just plug one of these adventures in. Anytime the players get to work with a celebrity, it's bound to be memorable. I like Emil Bollenbach's introduction, and I think he is a great recurring villain. As far as the adventures themselves go, they for the most part are pretty good. They're detailed, well written, and different from each other. They can be plugged in to any ongoing campaign. This anthology series is much better than the Book of Crypts, And the goofy gimmicks aside, I do recommend it. I think the idea of going on monster hunts with Van Richten is very memorable and will be a worthwhile experience. 7 gripping settings: haunted graveyards, manors and tombs, a bardic library with an unexpected room, ancient catacombs, and an entire town turned to dark terror. 7 terrifying characters: deadly and unexpected foes, a vampire who walks in the sun and laughs at clerics, a mummy whose touch turns living flesh water, and a fearsome host of others, a darkling, a vassalinch, a ghost, fiends, golems, a graveyard elemental, and a mad scientist. 7 nightmarish adventures. Dr. Rudolf Van Richten, author of the Learn Van Richten Guide, summons player characters from levels 3 to 9 to wipe out the evils that haunt Ravenloft. Thrill your players with these 7 chilling tales. You need the Ravenloft box set to play these adventures. The various Van Richten guides are helpful additions, but not necessary for play.